Long before the advent of cinema, people turned to various forms of collective activity for entertainment, mainly centered around religious ceremonies and folk expressions. Be it the temple dances from South India and Manipur that gave birth to some of our major classical dance forms, or the North Indian tradition of the Ram Leela and the Ras Leela that married mythology and theatre in their most accessible formats. The tradition of kirtans and qawwalis were born at a place of worship, like temples and dargahs, to give communities a sense of companionship and solidarity. Compared to these age-old practices, cinema is a relatively newer phenomenon. Armed with the proverbial pen, our filmmakers were fighting their battle against the hegemony of a haughty empire. Close to 24 films were released between 1921 and 1947 that either obviously or obliquely depicted the British as oppressors. The British Indian censors made every possible attempt to throttle such messages. The films had a very hard time at the censor board. Indian film directors were forced to find ways to talk about the ongoing freedom struggle without mentioning it directly. The 1952 Cinematograph Act set out the structure of censorship as it stands today, upheld by the Film Certification Board. But even now, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sure my colleagues on stage will agree, questions are being raised on civil liberties and freedom of expression.
Cinema, and in fact the advent of articulation through social media platforms, have now become the foremost expression of human experience and emotion. The collective narrative of our times is shaped by social media. And contrary to the belief that the spread of social media will affect cinema negatively, I believe cinema has an even more important role to play now. Social media is often driven by a certain narrowness of view that limits human nature to its baser self. I read somewhere that negativity increases social media consumption and thereby increases its commercial value as well. Such pursuits enclose the collective narrative, making it divisive and destructive. Cinema exposes the vulnerability of human nature by telling stories in their simplest form, as they are lived. It allows us to know each other better. In a way, it is best placed to sustain a collective counter-narrative that speaks to the larger nature of humankind. A narrative that brings to the fore humanity's immense capacity for compassion, unity, and brotherhood. Meeting the world at the world of cinema is the call of the day. Not just meeting, but also using the power of cinema as a vehicle for people of different cultures, colors, castes, and religion to better understand each other. Through efforts like KIFF, the endeavor is to build a new platform of understanding and break existing prejudices. So let's come together and build a better world for all our future generations through the medium of cinema.
कुछ दिनों से हम लोग यहाँ पर नहीं आए हैं, आप लोगों से मुखातिब नहीं हो पाए हैं, आप लोगों से मिल नहीं पाए हैं, लेकिन अब दुनिया जो है नॉर्मल हो गई है। हम सब खुश हैं, मैं सबसे ज्यादा खुश हूं और ये बात बताने में मुझे बिल्कुल भी आपत्ति नहीं है कि दुनिया कुछ भी कर ले, मैं और आप लोग और जितने भी पॉजिटिव लोग हैं सब के सब जिंदा हैं।